proved that the Democrat Party's main constituency are made up of Hamas terrorists, illegal aliens, and violent criminals. That is who the Democrat Party is catering to, not the Trump administration and not the White House and not the Republican Party, who is standing up for law-abiding Americans, not just across the country, but around the world.
With a smile on her face in a disastrous interview on Fox News, White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt, again smiling, gleeful, sadistic, said that the Democratic Party's constituents and voters are violent criminals, illegal aliens, and Hamas terrorists. She is condemning wholesale half this country simply because they criticize and oppose Donald Trump. This is shocking and unlike anything we've ever heard, not just previously from Leavitt, who has said some unhinged shit, but really any White House press secretary who preceded her, including any of Trump's. But before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. All right, folks, again, there can be no question that Donald Trump and the Trump administration hate at least half this country. You could argue that they have contempt for their own supporters as well, the way that they lie to and abuse and manipulate them. But if you're a liberal, progressive, Democratic voter or constituent, this is what the Trump administration thinks of you. I mean, the way she just went masked off here was shocking. Dan Pfeiffer of Pod Save America says, this shit is so fucking dangerous, and everyone on the Republican side just nods along. How is this anything other than deliberate incitement that risks leading to deadly violence? Says another. Sarah Longwell, Never Trump Republican, says, but Dems should really tone down their rhetoric. Thoughts on lowering the temperature at John Fetterman? John Fetterman, Democratic senator, who, by the way, has just been a colossal pain in the ass. Maybe he should start speaking up on behalf of his party, on behalf of his constituents, and on behalf of his supporters, rather than just kiss Trump's ass all the time. So the 15 minutes where they pretended to care about political rhetoric following Charlie Kirk's death are just over, I guess, says another. Mehdi Hassan, friend of the show, says, it's astonishing that just weeks after Republicans took to media to angrily say that they any reference to their party as Nazi or fascist was incitement of violence, they're now accusing the Democratic Party of being Hamas terrorists. For their own logic, they are inciting violence. But at least she didn't say deplorables, says another. Tag yourself, Dems. That's John Favreau, Dan Pfeiffer's co-host on Pod Save America. Aaron Reichland-Manick says deplorables was a scandal for years, and she wasn't even in the government yet. This is the White House press secretary whose salary is paid by the American public, including the very Democrats whom she's calling violent criminals, Hamas terrorists, and illegal aliens. Ron Filipkowski, the editor-in-chief of Midas Touch, says this woman is vile. Indeed. Midas Touch itself, the Twitter account, says officials who speak this way about their fellow Americans who simply have different beliefs should not be anywhere near government. What a terrible person. Kyle Griffin, again, senior legal affairs reporter at Politico, says, Hillary Clinton was lambasted for years for the phrase basket of deplorables. John Harwood, veteran journalist, says disgusting bullshit. This is incredibly dangerous framing, and it should make the hair on the back of your neck stand, whether you're Republican, Democrat, or independent. It's also patently false. Alisa Marco says, at press secretary, you're disgusting and a liar. And so on and so forth. You get the point. She's just shocked the world with this mask off moment. It really is despicable. And I'm sure she didn't get much pushback by way of Fox News. I imagine if a Biden or Obama press secretary said something similar about the Republican Party on Fox News, Fox would be like, whoa, 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 that's insane and incendiary. But again, Karoline Leavitt gets a pass. Let's play some other clips.
Susan Illman, a Clinton appointee, district judge on the federal bench in San Francisco, who has yet again implemented a nationwide temporary restraining order on what the White House believes is its constitutional authority to cut down the federal government during the shutdown.
Well, the White House believes this, John, because it's just the truth. The president is the head of the executive branch, and therefore he has the right to hire and fire executive branch employees. And unfortunately, the administration has taken the tough step to lay off thousands of workers across the federal government because the Democrats have selfishly chosen to shut our government down.
So again, she's a lying sack of shit. The Trump administration in its first term shut down the government. Previously, it was the longest shutdown in American history, and during that time, Donald Trump did not fire or create mass layoffs of the federal government. So she's been confronted about this before. So either the first Trump administration was fiscally irresponsible and Donald Trump should be condemned and mocked and a screw-up and a failure for what he did in his first term. Do you want to admit to that, Karoline Leavitt? Or instead, you could say that Trump is acting deliberately, cruelly, and spitefully here. But either way, you lose the debate, and Trump looks terrible. He's either a moron or a sadist in term 1 or term 2. You lose. Again, this is purely about punishing the Democratic Party. And again, think about it from her perspective, from her boss's perspective. I guess this makes sense, right? Because in their mind, they're not firing Americans. They're not firing good people. They're firing pro-Hamas terrorists, violent criminals, and illegal aliens. That's their conception of this. They hate the Democratic Party. They hate the 50% of this country who oppose Donald Trump. And so this is their form of retribution, at least one of them. Here's another clip.
And now you have this far left district court Democrat appointed judge who literally just uses politics from the bench and has no legal rationale for this nationwide temporary restraining order. And she is now blocking the administration from doing what the Supreme Court has already affirmed the president of the United States can do. In fact, this very same judge out of liberal San Francisco in May illegally ruled that the administration and the president does not have the right to fire executive branch employees. And the Supreme Court smacked this judge down in July. She is wrong. She is doing this for political reasons. And the Democrats know that they can judge shop, they can court shop, they can go to this woman because she is a far left hack and she uses politics from the bench. We are very confident we are going to win this temporary restraining order, and the Trump administration will continue to try to fight through this shutdown and get.
So again, they're so eager, they're so horny to fire people, to fire government workers, to fire people whom they view as liberals and progressives and Democrats, that they're just frothing at the mouth in rage over this, the fact that a district judge has ruled against them. Hey, listen, if you're right on the merits, you have a 6-3 conservative supermajority on the Supreme Court, maybe they will vindicate you. But as of right now, it has not been determined that Donald Trump may fire anyone in the executive branch at will. There are still federal protections in place, at least in theory, for government officials. This has yet to be litigated by the Supreme Court in a meaningful way. We'll see what happens. They could absolutely shred it in a way which would be advantageous to Trump. But, I mean, again, just a stunning comment and position from Karoline Leavitt about this. And I will also point out that when, again, Karoline Leavitt says, well, the Democrats shut this place down, again, it's not true. You got to remember that Donald Trump needs Democratic votes to keep the government open. And Democrats in the Senate and the House have also proposed their own legislation to keep the government open, and Republicans voted against it. So whatever accusation you want to levy at Democrats, you can easily levy at the Republican Party too. Hey, you all voted against our bill to keep the government open. You want us to keep the government open on your terms. You don't want to keep the government open on our terms. So it's just as much your fault as ours, or by your own logic. Furthermore, Trump won't negotiate. In previous shutdown situations, Democrats, however frustrating it was, and I agree it was frustrating, they sat down and negotiated with Republicans because they needed Republican votes to do it. That's something Trump is unwilling to do, even though Trump has previously accused President Obama of being responsible for the shutdown. He said, hey, if you're the president, it's your fault. It's your responsibility to get everybody together. Well, that logic, again, applies to Trump, right? I want to play one last clip. It's actually not about Fox, though. It's from a separate exchange on the in the driveway of the White House by Karoline Leavitt, in which they discuss recent strikes by the U.S. Navy on alleged drug smugglers out of Venezuela, which has become an increasing thing that the Trump administration is doing. Listen to what she has to say.
I have a question on the cartels. So yesterday we learned that at least the 5th strike on a boat off the Venezuela coast took place. We know that the Trump administration has previously said that they are in armed conflict with the people that the administration is striking. Who are these people? And don't you think not only the people, the American people, but lawmakers deserve to know?
Narco-terrorists who are trafficking drugs illegally to the United States of America. That's who we're in a conflict with. And the president's been very clear, and he's been very transparent.
He's not been very transparent. That's the problem. Instead, he has said, hey, I'm notifying you, Congress, we're basically in a war, even though Congress is the one constitutionally has the power to declare war. Legal experts, conservative and liberal alike, are like, sure sounds like you're circumventing your authority here. And he's not providing any sort of evidence that the Trump administration is actually targeting drug smugglers. We don't know. He's just saying that they are. He's offered no evidence, number one. Number two, even if he were, drug smugglers are not enemy combatants. You may not like drug smugglers. I don't like drug smugglers, but they're criminals who are entitled to civilian due process rights, which means you interdict the boats. You interdict the boats. You prove that they're drug smugglers, and then you arrest them, you detain them. That's what you do. You don't vaporize them because, I think they've got drugs. Do you think they've got drugs? Sure looks like drugs to me. You don't do that. That's a violation of both domestic and international law, and the Trump administration is just gleefully doing it. So, folks, it's pretty shocking what Karoline Leavitt is defending here again, gleefully, not even reluctantly. She's doing it with a smile on her face. She hates you. If you're liberal, progressive, Democrat, if you oppose or criticize Donald Trump at all, it doesn't matter where you are, this woman and Donald Trump hate you, and they have made that more clear today than they ever have, and it was pretty friggin' clear before. In the meantime, let me know what you think in the comments.